or simply just asking yourself fundamental questions around what do you want to have happen if XYZ occurs? Or if your family member needs of assistance, where do you want to pull those funds from? Hey everybody, Adam Kaznick here, Senior Wealth Manager with Convergent Financial Partners. Welcome back to Kaz's Corner, where financial independence comes from financial planning. I started this channel to educate all of you, and today's video is going to be about 13 retirement mistakes that can derail your retirement plan. So mistake number one that we're going to talk about is really centered around the engine that provides your retirement income. The biggest mistake that I see, the retirees, they get to that finish line. They say, okay, I'm retired. I've got all my assets. I have all my accounts. And they look at their retirement nest egg as just basically one big bank account. And that in reality is not how retirement plans are built. When you come to somebody like me and a financial professional who's going to build out a strategy for you, what we're looking at is how do we turn that bucket or buckets of money into income. And that is not as simple as, let me just take withdrawals out of the account. So that's going to be a core and fundamental mistake that a lot of retirees have is, oh, I have all this money, I'll just take distributions out of it. We actually have to make it a little bit more complicated than that to really make it sustainable for your retirement. Mistake number two is sequence of returns risk. If you're interested, I've done a much more comprehensive video here about sequence of returns risk, but essentially not paying attention to, is the market up, is the market down, particularly in the years just before you plan to retire and the couple of years after you retire is the most important thing to pay attention to with sequence of returns risk. Number three is the lack of planning around taxes. If you are not paying attention to not only the tax bracket you're going to be in, but even more detailed, what accounts you're pulling from, which then will create your tax bracket, that is a huge mistake. And for some reason, even in the accumulation side of things, when I'm working with clients work up to retirement, but especially after retirement, we seem to not give enough credit to that inevitable tax that we all know we have to pay. So paying attention to the tax bracket you're going to be in and where you're pulling your retirement dollars from is a key mistake if you don't pay attention. So the next couple of mistakes are going to be categorized around your portfolio and how it's allocated. So mistake number four is going to be staying too aggressive when you get to retirement. We all are thinking about we're going to retire for many, many years. Sometimes I have to tell my clients that you're going to be retired for longer than you think, but you can't remain as aggressively invested when you get to retirement. You actually have to, unfortunately, complicate your situation a little bit, still keep your aggressive portfolio, but you need to add in a more moderate and maybe even a really conservative portfolio to be combined to have a really comprehensive allocation for yourself. Mistake number five, also as part of your allocation, is going to be overly concentrating in a certain holding or a certain sector of holdings. What I mean by this is we're all tempted to go after the highest tech stock sector, or now AI, or maybe it's space and exploration. But you want to make sure that unintentionally, I've seen it a lot, and also intentionally, a lot of clients like to over allocate to a certain number of stocks or a certain sector. And if that sector has a reset or has a geopolitical effect that affects those number of stocks, you could see a really drastic effect of your portfolio that may come unintentionally and unfortunately at the worst time in your retirement. And mistake number six, also part of the portfolio, is being too emotional with your investment allocations. This is where, again, there's a lot of pieces put out there by a number of different research companies and investment companies around the value of an advisor, but a lot of it just comes down to offloading the emotional decision-making onto somebody like me. You shouldn't be managing your portfolio while you're trying to enjoy your retirement, spend time with family. If the market takes a little bit of a dip, guess what? We should have planned for that. So taking the emotional buying or selling decisions out of the way is really an essential piece of a solid retirement plan. Because I don't know about you, when I retire, I don't want to have to worry about and watch the market as much as I'm watching it today for all of you. So the next couple of mistakes that we're going to touch on regarding retirement planning is going to be around income planning. So mistake number 7 is going to be potentially starting Social Security income earlier than maybe is optimal for you. I see a lot of individuals, and I talk to a lot of individuals and tell me, I'm going to take Social Security at 62 because it's the earliest that I can take it and I want my money. But chances are you probably are going to outlive the, let's say, unhealthy half of Americans. And if you do, then chances are you actually could have ended up getting more money from Social Security than you think you would. So again, just taking it because it's accessible to you doesn't mean it's going to be the best strategy for you. Chances are, take it from your own portfolio and delay that guaranteed increase. Mistake number 8, also in the realm of income planning, is unfortunately forgetting about your spouse. You don't want to forget about when one of you passes away. That changes your income scenario in a number of different ways. And some of the high level ones are going to be your tax bracket's going to change, go from jointly to filing single. That's not a good move from a tax bracket standpoint. As well as also one of you is going to lose Social Security income. You still don't get 2 checks when one of you passes away. What ends up happening is you lose your lower check and you are ending up with the higher spouse's check. But between those 2 differences, that can really throw off the amount of income and spending power that you have in retirement. So the next couple of mistakes, 9, 10, and 11, I'm going to call the slow bleeds. These are the things that kind of linger. They don't hit you in the face all too often, but if you forget about them and they're not addressed, they really could take a toll. So number 9 is going to be healthcare costs. We all know that as we age, we incur more healthcare costs. But being realistic with not only your healthcare expectations, but your spouse's, other family members, and just the cost of healthcare in general, we know is going up. Number of different reasons. This video is not about complaining all about those, but we want to be particularly responsible with what Medicare coverage we're getting. Is it appropriate? Are you shopping it every year? As well as also, what are your simple prescriptions that you're taking? Let's be realistic with your costs. Let's project those out in the future and make sure that we don't have any surprises down the road. Mistake number 10 is going to be that pesky I word that we're all hearing about for probably the last 10 years, inflation. We know that it continues to tick up. We know that inflation is not the same across all types of purchases, right? Education, healthcare expenditures are not increasing at the same rate as maybe our normal spending in grocery stores. Now, no one likes the word inflation. No one likes to see prices go up, but there is a solution to help with inflation, and it's called staying invested. It's called staying the course and having the proper amount of funds in the market that, guess what, tracks inflation. That's how you protect your purchasing power, so you don't end up having, say, $5 million after 10 years, but guess what? We know $5 million is not going to buy the same amount as it will today. So we want to make sure that inflation is not eating away at your purchasing power. It's not just about the amount of dollars in the account. Mistake number 11, we're going to call it longevity. The longer you live, the more all of these risks compound on each other. Market risk. The longer you're in the market, the longer you're alive, the more years you have to worry about the market. The longer you live, the more healthcare years that you got to pay for. So longevity is important, and no one has a crystal ball. I can't tell you when you're going to die. If you could tell me when you're going to die, perfect. I could do a really good job planning. But chances are we want to build in an expectation that you may have a longer retirement than you initially thought. So mistake number 12 is really going to be putting off and delaying what we inevitably don't like to talk about, which is estate planning. What's going to happen when you are not here? How do you want your assets left to your loved ones? Or do you want the last check that you write to bounce, right? And you want to spend everything. There's no right or wrong reason. It's you just want to have a plan and be proactive with what this looks like for the end stage planning. And last but not least, number 13, Taylor Swift's favorite, never stress testing the plan. Now, whether you want to do this mathematically using some sort of Monte Carlo simulation and running the numbers, or simply just asking yourself fundamental questions around what do you want to have happen if XYZ occurs? Or if your family member needs of assistance, where do you want to pull those funds from? Or you need a new roof 8 years into retirement, where are those funds going to come from? These are questions that you need to be asked, that we need to be thought through to make sure that we have contingency fund appropriate, income planning appropriate, market volatility testing is appropriate. And that's one of the things that I do for my clients on an ongoing basis, whether they are nearing retirement or into retirement. You have to continue to stress test and ask these questions. There are so many risks out there. There are so many things that are outside of our control, even with the best allocation possible. So if you're interested in having a deeper conversation about your situation and how these mistakes, or hopefully avoiding them, can apply to you, reach out, connect with me. That's what I'm here to do. See you on the next one.
Jack, the future's looking bright.